Hello everyone and welcome back to The Last Spell. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman, and I liked this game so much that I decided I would do some more videos of it, moving on from Titanium Trials into maybe not necessarily a full series. We'll have to see. But at least a mini-series, a temporary slot filler, as we figure out what some of the next big titles we're going to be. And let me tell you, I do really love this game. Since I recorded those Titanium Trials videos, I've put in about 30 hours. And as such, those of you who are paying attention might notice our little hamlet of Lakeburg here looks a little different than once it did. I've gotten a lot of upgrades. I've unlocked a lot of things. We have an extra mage starting off now, so our circle is going to be a little bit stronger. We have walls, both wooden and stone, that we start with, which is going to make our early defenses much easier. We have a bunch of new buildings that we've unlocked. We've got new weapons that we've unlocked, and they are actually on these heroes right now, who we're going to have to introduce because they're quite special indeed. So let's just go down the line here. We'll start with number one, the warrior herself, Caffeine. Those of you who are familiar with the channel or my Discord or the streams definitely know of Caffeine. She is an excellent human being. And I decided to immortalize her here in The Last Spell. And by immortalize, I mean throw her bodily onto the horde of screaming undead. And probably at some point going to get torn limb for limb. But I mean, it's the way the cookie crumbles, you know? So, we have Caffeine. She's wielding a spear. A rusty spear. You know, early equipment is still rather lackluster in its quality. But spears are disgusting. They're so good. They're able to hit very large area, large number of enemies at a time, very high damage output. However, the trade-off, you can't use a shield. So your defenses are going to be a little bit more shoddy, at least until you can kind of build into some other stuff with your spear wielder. So, Caffeine here is pretty strong. Our starting heroes actually have some just decent buffs overall due to some of the upgrades that I got from the two goddesses, which is something we'll have to get into a little bit later. I learned some fun stuff about them as well. So you'll notice we have a lot of mana. We actually have 6 action points instead of 4 now. Different things like that. And we've got better traits. Our heroes are generally going to spawn with stronger traits and positive traits over negative traits, as opposed to having a mix that we had early on. So Caffeine today is a mercenary, meaning that she gets a 3% buff to all damage types, so we can make her do pretty much whatever we want. She's focused, so she's getting an extra 3% magic damage, which is something to consider. Obviously, she is still going to be our warrior for now. That's kind of what her stats are lined towards. It's what she started as. But if we can pick up a magic weapon to give her in her second slot along the way, that could be pretty decent. And then she's steadfast, so she gets plus 10% damage resistance. So this is part of the reason I wanted to keep her as our melee character for now. So she's just flat going to be reducing damage by 10%, which is nice. So yeah, pretty strong. I'm quite happy with this. Obviously level 1, so doesn't have any special perks or other upgrades or anything like that, but still, not bad. Moving on, we have Tenchi, resident Genshin Impact expert and Venti main. Again, if you are familiar with the channel and the Discord and all that good stuff, you are familiar with him. Decided to make him the hunter. He requested either to be a mage or a rogue/archer archetype, and that's exactly what he is here. Now, unfortunately, he has a heavy crossbow, which sounds pretty cool, but I actually think the heavy crossbows are some of the weakest ranged weapons in the game. And note, I can't impact this. Characters spawn randomly with a weapon that fits the archetype that they are set as. So, Caffeine spawned as the warrior, Tenchi spawned as the archer, and then our third character spawned as the mage. So, the weapons they have are just what they have for now. The crossbow isn't bad, per se. It can have good damage output, and it has some nice area of effect attacks. The issue is a lot of its attacks are based on straight lines. So if an enemy is at an angle from you, you may not be able to hit them that reliably. And that can get a little tricky later on in the game. So I'm not a huge fan of crossbows yet. There's a very good chance that we're going to try and switch Tenchi into something stronger here. But for the first couple nights, it'll serve its purpose. Now, of the archer archetypes, Tenchi is a hunter, so he gets +1 bag slot, plus 8% ranged damage, which is very nice, and plus 5% dodge, so a little bit harder to hit in melee, or at range. But minus 2 mana, which isn't terrible. Having 18 mana early on is still really solid. It's more the mana regen that I'm worried about right now. Plus 2 is not a lot. So, now Tenchi does have a trained trait, which means that his reliability is up by 10%, meaning that the minimum amount of damage that he could do is improved by 10%. So, across the board, it's like a flat, guaranteed 10% increase in damage at a minimum roll. So, always nice to see. Reliability is a very strong trait or stat to have here in the last spell. And then finally, Tenchi is luckless. Minus 5% critical. It's not the worst thing in the world. Just means that Tenchi's not going to be critting right now. It's not great. You don't like to see it. You'd prefer to have crit rather than not have crit. But of the negative traits to have early on, I think we can deal with that. Then moving on finally to our third and final member, we have Ben, who those of you might otherwise know as Canadian Animator Guy or Canadian Annie Guy. Obviously, big, important presence on the channel due to the art that he's done and the general support he's done for us here. And seeing as how he is an artist, I figured, well, as the old saying goes, the pen is mightier than the sword, or in this case, for digital art, the stylus. So it only makes sense that he would be the mage. Now, what he spawned with is actually one of my favorite magic weapons. It's probably not the strongest around, honestly, but I like it a lot just for the gameplay that it encourages. He has a scepter, which is actually more of a melee type of weapon. You're not actually whapping people with it most of the time. There is one attack that you do. But instead, it involves some close-range magical attacks. So, like, the basic attack for the scepter is actually this shocking touch, which is going to hit not quite a plus shape, but 4 blocks in front of Ben, 1 directly in front of him, and then 3 behind that in a fanned-out shape. Quite powerful. Very nice. And then also we'll have a stunning AoE attack that is pretty strong. So I like the scepter a lot. I've had a little bit of a hard time making it work in the late game, but early on it's quite nice. So Ben is a scavenger. He has +1 bag slot, +1 move point, and +5% dodge. Very solid. The bag slot hasn't been super useful, in my opinion. The consumable items are not that great. Typically not worth getting just for the gold cost. I might be wrong. I might be under-evaluating them, but to me, I'd rather spend the money on getting some upgraded gear or something like that for people. So I don't know how much we'll see that get used, but +1 move point and +5% dodge. Very, very nice, especially for someone who is going to ostensibly be in the melee. Ben is a genius, which is a statement I wholeheartedly agree with, both in-game and in real life, meaning he's going to be getting +30% experience gains, which is huge. Getting levels quickly is massive, just because you can get such huge power buffs and start unlocking ladder perks that are going to help you solidify builds earlier, which is really, really nice. Now, unfortunately, he also has a negative trait, and he has -20% critical power. Again, much like with Tenchi, you prefer to have more crit than less crit, and in this case, yeah, Ben has a 5% chance to crit, but his crits are going to be weaker. It's not the end of the world, though. I'm not typically building into crit with my mages, so again, all the negative traits that he could have, I feel like this one is not too bad. And yeah, so that's our starting 3. Now, if any of you guys out there listening / watching would like to have characters in-game, you can do a couple of things. First of all, as I've highlighted in Titanium Trials, you can make a character if you have the game for yourself, and then you'll actually get a unique code that you can submit to me, preferably through my Discord. I have a channel for the last spell in there where people can submit these types of things, so if you wanted to join the Discord and do that, that'd be great. I can collect those codes, and then I can put them onto characters, and I can throw you once more onto the heat of battle. And we're gonna need them, because let me tell you, these guys are maybe gonna survive. We'll see. We'll see. But each successive run has different characters anyway, so it would be nice to have a variety. So if you have a particular type of character you'd like to be, if you'd like to be a fighter, a thief / rogue / archer, or a mage, then let me know. You can attach that to the code if you submit that. Or if you would just like me to make you a character, again, you can do so. If you want to go, again, into the Discord or in the comments and give me a general idea of what type of character you would like to be, again, both from a class standpoint and from an appearance standpoint, and what name you'd like to have, I'd be happy to throw something together for you. So go ahead and do that, and we'll get some more people to throw into the meat grinder, yeah? All right. with that out of the way, I have arranged the team as I want them to be. Actually, I think we're going to have Tenchi outside the walls for now. Again, the crossbow makes things difficult. And we're going to see what the first horde looks like, so let's go. They're coming! Alright, so we've got some runners here. Generally, the first target that you want to be taking down, because they will try and flank and get around your lines and your walls and attack the village from an angle that you're not prepared for. So you want to drop them wherever possible. Other than that, though, it looks like we've got just standard crawlers for now, which is quite tenable. I'm more than okay with that. So let's get things kicked off here with a bang, shall we? We're going to have to move up one more, and we're going to have Ben use the Hammer of Faith, which is quite nice. Check this out. Boom! Big damage, chance to stun, hits a number of enemies. It's good stuff. It costs 2 action points and 2 mana, but at this point, that's really not that expensive, so I'm happy to spend it. Now, we could zap these guys, and I might just, but first... Tenchi... Or no, actually, Caffeine. Sorry, Tenchi's over here. If you could just go for the... Nice. Take that, indeed. Now, we could go for another stab here, which might not be terrible. But what if, hear me out here, we did this instead? Look at the range on this. This is the triple swipe that all spears get. And, I mean, it's just disgusting. Yeah, it uses 2 action points and 3 mana, but I mean... Boom! Caffeine, resident killer of the group, strikes again. Alright, Ben, if you wouldn't mind going ahead and giving these guys a shock for me. Thank you, sir. And then, let's see. We could go for a skewer here, but we'll hold off on Caffeine's last action, and we'll let Tenchi take some shots at things here. So, this is where we can kind of see how the crossbow winds up getting a little tricky to use. The only attack that it has that we can fire at angles is the straight shot. And it's the normal basic attack, which is fine. It's not the best thing in the world. It's not the worst. But then everything else, we have to be in an actual straight line to hit. And that can be a little bit difficult. So we'll see what we can do here. Nice shot. Fortunately, again, crossbows do pack a pretty decent punch. So they do have that going for them. And now I think I'd like to try and hit this group with an impaling bolt. There we go. Very nice. Well done, Tenchi. Well done. And that's the initial horde cleaned up. We can't actually hit anything else here, so what we're going to do is we're going to have Caffeine use her armor ability, which I've kind of didn't really understand at first when I was doing my titanium trials, but anyone with certain types of armor will have abilities that they can use. And so, for example, Tenchi here has Brace because she has heavy armor. And each time we use that, you can use it twice in a turn, it gives another 25 armor buff, which early on is huge. I mean, see, she's got 75 armor now for this turn. She's untouchable. Nothing's going to be able to hurt her. We'll get Tenchi into a slightly better position so we can move him where he needs to be as needed. And we're going to go ahead and wrap up the turn here. Brace yourselves! Oh, dodge. Easy. Didn't even need the armor. Alright, so we got a little bit of a group here. A little bit of a group, but it's not the end of the world. We do have an excellent opportunity for a triple swipe here. I mean, look at that. That's a potential for, what, 9 kills there? And that's something I should point out as well. You see how we actually have different icons here? So, like, some enemies have a skull with a sword going into it and a question mark. That means that the range of damage that we have on these enemies, we could kill them, but it's not a guarantee. What you'll notice, though, is there's a runner over here on the right that my cursor is on. That guy has a skull with a much more ferociously stabbing sword and no question mark. That means that so long as we hit, we are guaranteed to kill that guy. So let's go. Boom! Too easy. Caffeine, you're out here murdering them. I mean, when you can just murk an entire group like that, like, what else are you even supposed to do? It's just amazing. It's excellent. It's great. All right, Tenchi, if you could come over here. We are going to throw an explosive bolt down here. Boom! Again, big damage on the crossbow. The issue winds up becoming more getting the angles to hit stuff later on. Okay, not a bad turn for Tenchi, not a bad turn at all. We got this guy is completely crippled. And something else that I have learned about the game, as enemies and allies lose HP, they will incur negative status effects. So this crawler, for example, seeing as how he's almost dead, has -2 panic. So if he were to get inside the walls, the people would be considerably less concerned with this one than perhaps some other ones that'd be running around. Has -2 move points, so we've presumably blown a leg off or something, and is doing -40% damage. So even if you can't kill something, it could be in your best interest to severely cripple it, and then even if it's kind of still wandering around the battlefield, it'll be much less of a threat than a full HP enemy. So that is something to consider. Now, we have Ben's whole turn, and Caffeine has a good few actions left here. Let's see what Ben is able to do in terms of cleanup here. Nice. Got a bunch of good stuns. Zap. Zap. Very good. Dogs are down. Most other dudes are down. Tenchi getting a big hit. Or Caffeine again, sorry. I don't know why I keep getting you guys mixed up. My apologies. Caffeine getting some big hits in. Absolutely demolishing dudes. Night 1 is not exactly that threatening for me anymore. Caffeine taking a little bit of a hit there. No big deal. Will actually nearly heal to full at the end of the night without any other healing, just because of her base healing, which is very, very nice. And we're down to 23 enemies left. Not bad at all, if I dare say so myself. Now, I think I would like to prevent the use of any more mana on Caffeine, seeing as how she does have that slightly low mana regen. Ben and Tenchi are in a little bit better shape, especially because their spells cost a bit less than Caffeine's do. So I'm not as worried about using their abilities. Zap! Nice. We fall back to the wall there. Looks like a good opportunity for an explosive bolt here. Nice. Beautiful. And we can do a little bit of cleanup here. Nice. And we actually have one shot left here, so we can move over. And this heavy bolt is interesting. It does more damage, but again, you need to be in a straight line, and it has inaccurate on it. So enemies that are dodgy or enemies at a further range are less likely to be hit. Fortunately, that crawler, not exactly the dodgiest guy around. Tenchi's going to take a hit here. Nothing too terrible. Not bad. Not bad at all. And we're down to the last stragglers, so let's just go into cleanup mode here, shall we? Thank you, Ben. I don't think we need to use any more mana on anybody here, so we're just going to use some basic attacks to clean up. And you can see how having that increased number of action points just does wonders for our ability to clean things up. It's so nice. It's so nice. It makes life so much easier. Alright, another night survived. Let's go. This is probably my 7th or 8th proper run. So we're much stronger than we were before. S rank, everyone got a level. Very good. And 0 panic in the city, meaning that we're going to get maximum rewards, which is always good. Very nice. And we've got our Tainted Essence going on here, so this is one of the progression mechanics that definitely did not get highlighted that much in Titanium Trials because, well, we didn't really have too much other stuff going on in a second run, so as much as this is we can stack up we want to, and we get more for just doing various different things, the longer the game goes, the more different things you will trigger that will give you more Tainted Essence, which is obviously very, very good. It's how you unlock other weapons, stat ups for your characters, all that type of stuff. S rank, night 1, well that was easy. Unfortunately, it's not going to stay that way. Alright, enemies are coming from the right this time. think that we should be able to manage that. Let's visit the Orichalcum, shall we? Our goddesses are no longer silhouettes. They are fully fledged beings in their own right. And there's a little bit of something fun to note here. Not only do we know their appearance, but we know their names. We've got Shaden here, the Dark Goddess, the user of Tainted Essence. And I don't have anything in particular that I want to unlock right away because I'm actually working on Wealthy Haven, which is very expensive. It's going to take probably a couple of runs to get to this, but it'll make it so that our new havens will start with 50 gold and 50 materials, which is big. Having that extra money and materials right off the bat is going to make transitioning into latter nights and getting our economy going much, much easier. And our economy is something that we'll talk about here in a minute. There's obviously a ton of different stuff we could get. Light armors, different types of offhand weapons, magic scepters, all sorts of different things. And then there's a bunch of stuff that I've unlocked as well. Additional mages, warrior armor, extra mana, hammers, longbows, all sorts of fun stuff. So for now, though, I'm just going to put this essence into Wealthy Haven, make another step towards that. And we're going to say goodbye to Shaden for now. And saying goodbye to Shaden, we're going to go over here and talk to the Light Goddess, Freude. So for any of you who are familiar with German or the term Schadenfreude, which I'm probably not pronouncing correctly. I did take some German classes, but I was never very good at it. You would know that it loosely translates to the idea of the pain joy. So the Dark Goddess being pain, and the Light Goddess being joy. Funny how that works. Together, they're what's causing us to endlessly loop through this cycle of never-ending suffering and death. So, you know, the pain joy. There have been some interesting lore things that we've learned about from these two. They haven't revealed too much yet, but both have basically said it's in their best interest to keep us going through this, and that's why they're giving us their power to do so. Don't know how that's going to pay off in the end, but this life of endless battles is horrendous. I'd rather die. That thou cannot. Who would brand a glimpse of hope to thy people if not thee? I have no idea what brind is. Presumably some old-timey version of bring. Without thee, they are but lost ants, easily crushed by the forces of evil. They need thee, and I, forever. Very convenient for you, isn't it? Alright, Meteor Ring! Have a hero kill 9 enemies in a single blow. Caffeine, you unlocked me a ring. Beautiful. I have no idea what the Meteor Ring does, and it'll probably be a little while before we see it show up as a rewarder in the shop, but hey, I'll unlock it. Sounds good to me. And of course here we have a bunch of other things to unlock as well. The thing about this is these are not things that we spend a resource to get, like with Shada and the Tainted Essence. These are the things that we just unlock by doing certain things. So as we master the game and accomplish different things, we'll get rewarded for it, which is very nice. For now, though, we're going to leave those two to their own devices, and we're going to take a look at our levels here. So, Caffeine, starting us off. What do you have here for me today? Has opportunistic that we could get as a secondary attribute. Not super useful for spears, so probably hold off on that. Reliability is nice. Not the most important thing when it comes to spears. They don't have a huge damage variance, but still not bad. For our primary attributes, though, it's looking a little less great. Physical damage up would be fine, but I think we're going to take a reroll here. Okay, well, I think rather than rerolling again and getting stuck with something awful, we're just going to go for that 8% physical damage. And then here, could get more XP. We could get resistance reduction. Make it so that enemies aren't... Make it so that enemies aren't blocking as much damage. So basically, are we making the enemies block less damage or take more damage? I think I might actually go for reliability because I have an idea for another item that I would like to put on Caffeine due to that extra magic damage traits that she has, or those traits that she has. And reliability can be pretty good with magic, so we'll take that. We'll take that. And it'll just be useful for her. Now, perks are very interesting, and I've been having a lot of, not heated, but intense discussion with friends who've been playing about what perks they like to take, and we all pretty much have different stances on things. For most heroes, I like to take the extra XP early on, because again, stacking those levels early is really strong. But others like to take different things. Eric likes to take Coagulation to get more armor. Jordan likes to take Fatality to kill low-health enemies without needing to use action points on them. And there's arguments for all of those. And I may actually come back and take some of those. But for now, getting that XP, to me, is the most important thing. Tenchi! What do you have for me here, friend? Nothing too great in terms of primary attributes here. Let's see. Better stuff here on the secondary attributes. Isolated plus 20% could be good, but again, crossbows aren't doing anything with isolation for us. So I don't know how useful that would be, really. And we don't really have opportunistic here either, or momentum. So none of these traits, while good, are useful for the crossbow. They could potentially be good for other stuff that we could transition Tenchi into, but it's hard to take levels to do that without knowing what we're going to be getting. So what we might actually do here, let's take one reroll. Magic damage, armor, resistance. We're actually going to reroll this again. You know what? I'll take a mana up. I'll take an extra mana is always solid. And now what we're going to do is we're actually going to hold off on taking the second part of Tenchi's level here. And we're actually going to go and look at what our night reward is, because we might get a different weapon for Tenchi that could make a decision easier for us there. Ooh. There's actually some decent stuff here. Journeyman's Wand. More magic could be good, but Tenchi, as he's currently built, is not leaning towards magic. The dagger, that could be good. And that is a very strong dagger as well. Now, what would be good about this is we'd be able to get isolation bonuses with it, which would be huge. And we do have that isolated perk that we could take. So I'm inclined to potentially take that. And then we have the Cursed Pants, which is giving 10 armor, 3% dodge, 7% isolated, 2 block, and 4% dodge. Very strong. But I'm learning that I've been overvaluing armor and undervaluing weapons, and it's been making it hard for me to kill stuff later in the game. So, with that in mind, I think we're going to take this dagger. This dagger looks very strong. Beautiful! And what that means for us is we can put this dagger on Tenchi. So now we can actually see. He has the dagger in all of its glory. It's going to be quite effective. He can take some pot shots with the crossbow, then maybe move into melee range, stab some stuff. I think that could be pretty good. And we're going to go ahead and get that isolated bonus. Beautiful. So now we can actually see isolated deals bonus damage to enemies with no adjacent ally. We now have a plus 20% to that. So Tenchi's going to be stabbing people who are alone with ruthless efficiency. Now, with that in mind, Fatality could be good for executing low health enemies. Coagulation could be decent with the health regen to get more armor. I like the XP gains early. I really do. So I think we're going to take that. And again, right now, the knife is kind of going to be a little bit of a secondary thing. We're still going to be taking shots with the crossbow where we can. So having the extra armor early on might not be the most important thing for Tenchi. And then Ben, let's see what you have here for us, my friend. If we keep Ben with the scepter, then having some melee defensive focused things would be good, like extra dodge or extra armor. I would like magic power or things like that, but it doesn't look like that's something we're getting right now. Resistance reduction, though, could be pretty good. Let's look at the exact details. Let's see, resistance reduction. I believe, yeah, that's just going to reduce their ability to negate damage. So I am inclined to take that. And let's re-roll these. Not great. Really not great, actually. Wow, that's unfortunate. Well, ranged damage is doing absolutely nothing for him, so that kind of sucks. But we're going to take the extra XP, and he's going to level again very quickly since he also has Genius. So it's not the end of the world. We'll get some other abilities. We'll get some other level ups, things like that for Ben. It won't be too bad. Now, what I would like to do here is go quickly through the initial build phase. And this is actually something that Eric has been teaching me. He has a particular build order that has been quite effective, but my memory being what it is, can't quite remember it. So I'm going to do what I can to do it effectively, but we'll see if I'm able to pull it off. So first things first, was he recommended to tear down a house using 2 workers. Then we can build a new house in its place, getting us 2 more workers, and we can build a gold mine. Gold mines are something new that I unlocked, and they allow us to just put workers into them to get more stuff, which, I mean, hey, I'm all about that. To get more gold, sounds good to me. Now, I think what I need to do here is I need to tear down a 3-block house. That only brings me to 37. There's a way, if I remember correctly, to get the production up so we get more gold. And I might have screwed things up there. If we tore down a big house, how much would we get? 28? That would put us over the 40 to get that upgrade. We could build another house as well. Let's do this. I'm probably doing this incorrectly, and he's going to scold me for it. Oh, we can't get another house, actually. Ha! I'm just dumb. I'm just dumb. That's okay. We've got 6 workers online. That's not the end of the world. We're going to get production up, so we're going to get more gold whenever this triggers, which is very, very nice. And that's going to have us set good for the next turn. Now, by set good, I mean set well, because I'm not a Neanderthal that doesn't know how to speak. I don't know that we necessarily need to build more walls. I guess we can get some basic stuff up here. Just in case. But no more than that. No more than that. And yeah, I think this is where I'm going to call this one. When we come back to it, we're going to move into night 2 and see how we hold. And we're going to keep going from there. So I hope you guys have enjoyed and continue to enjoy. Again, if you want me to get a character view in the game, join the Discord. Post, if you have a character that you've made of yourself already, the code for it in the Discord. Or if you'd like me to make something for you, give me a basic idea of what you would like to look like, what you would like your preferred class to be, all that type of good stuff, and I'll see what I can put together for you. But yeah, with all of that said, thank you guys so much for watching. I do very much appreciate it. If you know someone that you think would enjoy this series or any of my other series, if you could shoot them a link, that'd just be swell. Until the next time, though, I hope you all have a good night. Stay safe and healthy out there. And remember, be good to each other. Bye now.